Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the five-star general, Lavar Ball at it again. This time with LaMelo. I don't know how that's going to work out. It didn't work out the first time. He said the Lakers wouldn't win a championship without his son. Look like they about to drop another banner. And Joe and Kamala,
we're not frozen, are we? Or is that him?
No, we're not frozen.
Okay, well, give him a second to come on back. He's frozen. He's coming back, but until he does, we are going to be talking about obviously the acceptance speech, if you will, by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and everything that's transpired since we were here last Friday. Also, we're going to be talking about LaVar Ball and the Baller brand, Big Baller brand. And the things that have played out, recently with the family. So I guess we're going to have some varying opinions here. So as soon as he's going to come right back, he had to unfreeze himself. So
well, in the meantime, in the news, if you guys have been paying attention as you guys are continuing to dance in the streets and be happy, some political pundits on some of the very shows that were really, she's a former co-host, or she's a host, contributing host on AM Joy. A lot of people are taking to task Joe Biden's first 100 days. And in the first 100 days, he's doing all of this stuff, but nothing for Black people. Nothing in the first 100 days is for Black people. And a lot of the pundits that butter biscuit danced to get Joe Biden elected are now calling into question. They're not necessarily upset, but they're calling into question, hey, we were the ones that got you the White House. We were the ones that got you on the road there. And you haven't got anything in the first 100 days for us. So once again, the War Zone and a lot of other pundits and the new Black media, we told you what always happens when it comes to Black people and Black people's issues. He is already showing that instead of being in front of the line, he's pushing us to the back. I've got to do the pandemic. I've got to do DACA. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. In the first 100 days, he is not doing anything for Black people. And now a lot of people are starting to question that. And we've already said that. Also, today, Donald Trump fired the defense secretary. This man is going on a tangent. He's going to bring everybody down. So the defense secretary got fired today. And they say one of the reasons he was fired is because he said that he would not use U.S. troops in the United States against citizens, paraphrasing, if he lost the election and had to, want to take over. And then in the meantime, the Donald Trump folks are going to do the I Got Cheated tour. It might not include Donald Trump, but it's going to be a lot of his surrogates, maybe his son, maybe his daughter, and all that other stuff. So you guys, be on the lookout at a city near you. The I Got Cheated tour by the Donald Trump Brigade. Demetra?
And before we pass it to Gary, if you guys could do us a favor and share this so everybody else can see and hear and chime in what's going on. I also like to say a big giant thank you to Terrence for coming out and doing my landscaping. He did a phenomenal job. It was really nice to meet him. So yes, you guys need some landscaping of any magnitude. Please reach out to him. He is in the comment section. Reach out to him. Very affordable prices. And most importantly, he does a wonderful job. So I just want to say thank you.
Say, man, we got a saying down here, man. When the lights come on in the club, you ain't got to leave, but you got to get the hell up out of here. Trump, you need to get the hell up out of Dodge, man. And be done with it. It's over. But I like the comment one of Joe's people made, that when it's time for them to go in, they will remove all trespassers. So, is what it is, man. what's going on with me? Y'all saw me this weekend. I'm working a big case out in Louisiana. They got so much going on out there. They got a case similar to Emmett Till that's going on in Baldwin, Louisiana. Some folks reached out to me today, but I got to make sure I'm not stepping on nobody's toes. If that's the case, then I'll be glad to help. But if somebody's already doing it, man, do what you do, make it happen. It is what it is. Tonight we're gonna start off with my man Lavar Ball. If y'all don't know, controversial figure in sports. He got the three boys play basketball. And what was his first son's name, Demetri, that made it to the Lakers?
Lonzo.
Yeah, Lonzo. Now LaMelo is LaMelo is the baller. Let's just get that straight. He always said LaMelo was the baller. And LaMelo should go real high in the draft. I don't think he'll go no lower than number 2. He may go at number 1.
He's in the top.
Yeah, but right now they don't really have a clear-cut number 1. So I say the worst he's gonna do is number 2. But Daddy got a problem right now. So Demetri, what's Daddy's problem? LaVar Ball's problem?
Well, as you guys know, he has a Facebook show. What his family does, it comes on Facebook and it highlights the family. I think it's about 20 minutes or so. I watched the whole first season, but I didn't get a chance to finish it. But it continues on. And so on this show, they talk about all the family dynamics, everything that's going on with the business, and you name it, they talk about it. So next week, I guess they're going to discuss the fact that LaMelo, the youngest one, he is actually instead of staying with the Big Baller brand. Remember, he had his own shoe with Big Baller that was going for about $300. Instead of staying with the family shoe or brand, rather, Big Baller brand, he is going with Puma. And so LaVar is pretty upset. Basically, if it wasn't for him, none of the boys would be where they were. And so on the clip that is going to highlight next week, he says, F them. I can do it on my own. Now, you guys also remember there was some controversy when Lonzo left because, he was playing with the Lakers and all of that. And he was supposed to be wearing the shoe, the Big Baller brand shoe while he played. But he ended up, I think, signing for Nike. Also, Lonzo is suing one of the Big Baller brand partners due to some fraud. He's saying that $1.5 million was stolen from him. So he is engaged in a lawsuit. And so, LaVar, being the patriarch of the family who has brought his family to where they are, is not happy. Now, it is said that his net worth is about $4 million. And, but I don't know how true this is. Just from reports I've seen, says that the brand is worth $1 billion. Now, that could be fluff from LaVar, but who knows? He gets paid from Facebook. He has the Big Baller brand. And a couple of other entities that he manages and he makes money from. So the deal now is he's upset because the youngest one, the superstar, the baller, as you say, that is top 3 in the draft, NBA draft pick. He's potential top 3. He is now going to take his status to Puma. So
here's my opinion, and I'll get more into it as we go. That when you sue the company that supposedly defrauded you of $1.5 million, and your father is a partner in the company, you're suing your father. So if you couldn't protect your child's interests, then why should this younger one go the route and deal with you? I get it that he's been there from day one. I was there for my nephews from day one. But at the same time, you may be good at training them and getting them ready, but on the business side, you may not be what it needs to be. Now, as far as him being a billionaire, I don't see him on the Forbes list.
Well, that doesn't mean he's a billionaire, because a lot of times people, their net worth is different from their businesses, all their entities. So like Kanye is worth anywhere between his business, rather, Yeezy and all of that is worth about $3 to $5 billion. But personally, he's worth about $1 billion. That makes any sense.
Yeah. So I think LaVar need to go on and leave his kids alone. You got them now. They're going to take care of your pops. and let him just ball, man. I mean, he put a target on Lonzo's back from day one. I mean, to the point where when you can piss off a dude that smile every day, Magic Johnson, when you can piss him off to the point he don't even want to have a meeting with you no more, then, we're at a point where it don't make sense now. So, like I said in the beginning, he said the Lakers would never win a championship without his son. I think they get to drop another banner. It didn't work out the way he thought. So I think he just need to move on and leave his kids alone, man. Let them go and do what they need to do.
Yeah, and let me add to that real quick. You got to also remember, by him also being as vocal as he is as a father, and this is his youngest son because he has 3 sons. The middle one I think is playing overseas right now. That could also drop his son's draft stock, because if I was a GM, knowing that what happened with Lonzo, it's like, well, if I got to deal with this parent, do I really want to do that? Would that mess up the chemistry within the team? He's either got to stand on his own and work it out. But if I have to deal with this guy who's going to constantly put light, because Lonzo was a decent player, and Lonzo, Dimitri, he played in high school about Chino Hills. He was over there in Chino Hills. Yeah, that's 30 miles from where Dimitri and I live, and not far. But I didn't go to any of his games. But the point is, though, because of his father's I wouldn't say interference, but his father's influence, I think that really messed up Lonzo's confidence when he got to the NBA. He was already scrutinized for his jump shot. So to have your dad come in there, and then you're with these other grown men, and it's like, oh, your daddy's doing that for you. Oh, you know what I mean? I could just see what the locker room is saying.
So where did Lonzo actually rank in the draft pick?
Lonzo was the number 2.
Number 2. So he was pretty good, right? Yeah. So I think, his dad had some validity to big up in his sons, and I'm differing. My opinion is very different, because I feel like when it comes to Lavar, who is a black man with black sons, everybody and their mama, and I'm a Lavar fan, I'll be honest with you, but everybody and mama want to scrutinize him, but there's a lot of other parents that are involved with their children that are in sports. Peyton Manning's father was involved. Now I know he was in sports too, and he has a brother in sports, but his father was involved, and you never heard any of the vitriol regarding him like you do Lavar. And a lot of people say, does Lavar talk a lot? Yeah, he talks a lot, but what is he saying? People have a problem with him speaking life into his children. Like, we would be happy, I'm not saying y'all, but I'm saying in general, society would be happy if he was talking negatively about his sons, but he's speaking life into them. I mean, I know I tell my daughter, you can do anything you want. You're the greatest to ever do it. But then there's this also thing, because I saw a comment in the comment section, people want his sons to buck his authority. Now I know they're grown, but they because you've heard this on the sports shows that, his sons are in fear of him. No, it's not that they're in fear of him. They respect him as their father. And I think it should be said that without their father, they would not be where they are. Now, does Lavar need to back up a little bit business-wise? I don't know. It remains to be seen. But it just seems like, everybody seems to have a problem with him and how he deals with his son. But everybody else gets a pass. And a perfect example. Now, I know it's not sports, but all the Kardashians, their mom is solely responsible for all of because I know the sex tape dropped, but their mom is in every interworkings of everything that they do. And you never hear anybody say, well, Kris Jenner needs to back off. She needs to let them do what they want to do. And, all of that. But I think what happened with the youngest son is I think somebody got in his ear and said, hey, you know what, your daddy this, that, your daddy, you be better off. I believe that's what happened. And I think
sounds like a singing group. Like a singing group. Oh man, you can go solo. You don't need them. You Eddie Kane.
Right. I think the sons are wrong for doing that to their father. That's what I think.
Well, I'm gonna say this here. Your draft stock doesn't mean that you can actually ball out. Now, y'all from LA. Michael Olowokandi went #1 to the Clippers, and he was flat out trash. He was trash with all the money they paid him. He was flat out trash. Now, Lavar, if you want to be Joe Jackson, I tell you what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to let Michael go solo. You have to leave him alone, let him do what he do. Michael's career did not take off until he got his daddy out of his business. Now, once he got his daddy out of his business, here comes Janet. She got her daddy out of her business. See, some of these people don't know what they're supposed to know in these businesses. Give you another example. Ricky Williams, how you feel now that you let Master P do your first contract? You see what I'm saying? You got expertise in getting them ready, but you don't have the expertise that it takes to do what you do. Now, from a competitive standpoint, I will say this here. When he got to the Lakers, y'all tell me, was Kobe still living? Okay, so imagine if he'd have been on another team. Just because his daddy ran his mouth, Kobe would have destroyed him. He put a target on his back. That means he had to come out there every night, and you going against LeBron, you going against everybody. And you disrespecting these dudes' ability because it's your kid. I had to do it today. You know, we talking high school basketball. And yeah, we got this monster high school basketball coach at Yates and won 4 or 5 championships. And people like, he's the best to ever do it. Now, I'm a Yates Lion through and through. But my comment said, before you do that, remember Jackie Carr at Wheatley. He was a legend. He had monster teams. You just can't disrespect people because that's your kid. Because in this competitive nature, and I'm glad that my man didn't play back in the 90s and the 80s, because he'd have been in the hospital with the way his daddy was talking. Rick Mahorn them would have put him in the hospital. So I just think that Lavar is a great attribute to this whole thing. But when it comes to doing certain things, you know, a lot of GMs they ain't gonna want to deal with it. They're not gonna want to deal with it, and that's gonna hurt his kid. You see what I'm saying? So he got to back up off of it. But if he want to be Joe Jackson, man, just go get you a pallet of bricks, and when they don't want to listen to you, tell them move the bricks or something, dude.
Yeah, you know, and I'm with you, Dimitri, and I agree wholeheartedly with just about everything you said. But the difference between Peyton Manning and all these other folks, it's how they do it. Lavar was into the press and doing it. You don't see Peyton Manning's father out there on ESPN every week and, you know, doing all this and saying how great his sons are and stuff like that. You know, stay behind the scenes, do what you got to do. Kris Jenner, yeah, girl, go ahead and pop that coochie, girl. Go pop that coochie. We'll drop the tape. She stayed behind the scenes and dropped all that. So I just think it's the delivery and how you do it. And, you know, and for some reason, it's just something about that spotlight for some people. Once that spotlight hits them, it's an addicting thing. And I think Lavar just got in, you know, he's rubbing elbows with the stars. Wasn't he on the WWF at one time or E? You know, when they signed the contract, him and his sons, they go into the, you know, it's all at once. And I just think that if he would just stay behind the scenes, behind the curtain and pull the levers, his sons would be better off.
I mean, even with Stephen Curry, they'll just let him play. Just let him do what he needed to do. You raise these babies to get them to a point where you got to let them spread their wings. And Lavar has to understand that this is a business. It's a business that he may not have the expertise to deal with on that side. And I think he'll hurt his son more by doing the same thing to him to LaMelo, which is cold, the boy cold. But he'll do the same thing to him that he did to the first son, and he'll hurt him. He got to step back and just let them do what they do.
Kevin Durant.
So I think, you know, Lavar definitely has raised the real estate of his sons by doing all of the talking. Like I said, you know, sometimes it's a lot, but most people wouldn't even know anything about them to the tune that they do if it wasn't for their dad. Me personally, I don't have a problem with their dad doing what he is doing. And that's the difference. people, and I'm just one of those people, but when Black people do it, it's a big, giant deal. Because I used to watch, Al was in the sports, and he would send me all the stuff of the sports commentators saying, oh, he needs to go away. He needs to sit down. His kids are in fear of him. And, they need to stand up to him. And then back to the whole Joe Jackson thing. I didn't have a problem with what Joe Jackson was doing either. Like somebody asked Joe Jackson in an interview, they said, Michael Jackson said that he would regurgitate every time you came in the room. And he said he regurgitated all the way to the bank too. So if it wasn't for a disciplinary like Joe Jackson, none of his siblings would be where they were. So, it's just like we always want to put limits on our people, but we hardly have anything else to say about when other people do it. And I'm going to stand 10 toes down on it. I think his sons are wrong for going off. Now, this is me, going off and giving them white people more money than they already need. Puma's got enough money. Nike's got enough money. If your sons are the number 2 and potentially number 1 through 3 draft pick in the NBA, don't you think that would make his brand do more if you stay and keep that money in-house? See, that's how we got to start looking at stuff.
Yeah, it's cool if the money stay in-house if it don't come up missing. 1.5 million.
Now that I agree with. Now that was done by, I guess he's like an uncle to him. So there's some discrepancy. So that needs to be fixed. But it should be said that it was not his dad that did that. It was a trusted uncle, friend, whoever he was that did that. That needs to be addressed. But as far as taking your family name and going to give it to the white folks, give it to, they got enough money already. Why not? And that's why our businesses don't grow, is because we let, as they say, the white man's ice is colder than ours. We let somebody get in our ear, or you come over here, woo, 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 instead of staying at home with your daddy, his brand, and blowing his brand up.
Being a former athlete, I know one thing, that I didn't have boys, I had girls. So I had nephews, and I put them balls in their hands. And I remember the day I took my nephew to the old high school, and we walked by the trophy cases, and he saw the state championship trophy, from when I played, and he saw my name on it, and I'm in the Hall of Fame and all that stuff there. You know what I told my nephew? I say, all that shit is cool, but it ain't gonna be great with this family until you put your own stamp on it, partner. So I'm not going to your coaches if you miss practice or you're late or whatever. I'm not getting off into that. I'm not doing that. I stepped back as an uncle. I stepped all the way back. Now go and create your own legacy. LeVar Ball needs the spotlight. And I'm telling you, Demetri, because I've seen it too many times with parents. I've coached kids and I've dealt with these parents. The worst parent that I could deal with is the father who didn't accomplish a damn thing on the football field. And he living through his kid because you need to cut this way. You didn't cut that way when we ate your ass up. You didn't score on us like you telling your kid he gonna do. Man, let the kid be the kid, man. And at the end of the day, it's a business decision. And I'm being honest with you. When them kids start looking at them numbers and then that money don't add up, I believe one thing. That might have been your uncle that took that money. But your daddy was in control of that company. So there's no way your uncle gonna steal his money if your daddy don't know it's been done. And if your daddy don't know it's been done, you need to find somebody that can run that side of the business. So rather than do that, the kid just said to hell with it and went to Puma, which I would have went to Nike. He'd have got more money if he'd have went to Nike. But the game is get as much money as you can get. That's the game. Because if he go out there tomorrow and he tears knee up, it's over with. Now think about it. This kid ain't went to college. He has no education, nothing. So get as much money as you can get. He living through his kids and he hurting them. I'm telling you. That's my opinion.
The game is to put your family name on the map and to ultimately build a legacy. That's what the game is. And so what? He's living through his kids. He done sacrificed his whole life to make sure it hit 3, besides the Jackson 5s, how many people got 3 sons all of your kids are NBA worthy. How many people do you know? I mean, I'm sure it's done somewhere, but you know, people talking about he living through his kids. So what? So what? He's doing that. But the ultimate legacy is not to keep giving these white folks more money. It's to keep that money home. That's what you call group economics. But we won't do it because, as my mom would say, we think all that glitters is gold. But ain't no way in hell I'm going to sell my daddy out, his brand, to go be with white folks. I'm sorry. And then, like, you know, Deion Sanders, he's at Jackson, right, in Mississippi. Where did his son go play? His son is playing with him. He could have went to school anywhere. He went to go play with his dad. I mean, to me, it's like it's simple math. But, you know, like you said, some people are chasing the bag and destroying a relationship with your father. Now, I agree. The $1.5 million missing, that, you know, is obviously a business problem where it's coming up missing. But I don't think you should charge that to your dad if he's not directly involved.
Well, let me say this now, Dimitri. You know that I coach youth basketball, and I'm not one that's really about the winning. I'm about the fundamentals. My job is to teach the fundamentals to these 8 to 10, 11-year-olds, and so they can move up, right? And here's the funny thing about a lot of these, and I've ran across a lot of Lavar type parents. Okay, you don't have time to coach yourself. I don't have any kids, you know, that are that age to coach, but I'm taking my time to coach them. You drop them off to practice if they show up even at all, because your kid's all ball. And I had a kid that was like that. His mom was like, "Oh yeah, he's a baller. He's this, that." I said, "Well, I don't want him to play like that. I want him to play the way I want him to play." We get game time. He's listening to dad versus listening to coach. And I'm like, well, you know, and let me tell you, the worst league to coach basketball is a church league. Do not do it. They will wait for you in the parking lot and beat your ass up if you don't win and all this other stuff. But I had nightmares going through that. But my point is, you know, the dads want to win and their parents want to win. That, you know, the kids got the Nike gear and, you know, $300 in clothes. And I'm just like, look, he can't even play defense. He can shoot all day. It's a team sport, whatever. But you can see how a lot of parents put a lot of emphasis on getting those children ready for the big payday, not for the kid, for themselves. And I think that's the problem. You know, an 8-year-old child, let him have fun playing basketball. Let him learn the fundamentals. But no, they're like, oh, he's got to do this. He got to look a certain way. I'm just like, you don't need $300 shoes to play travel basketball, you know, just basic basketball. You don't need $300 shoes.
So Negroes will pay all types of money for them white folks tennis shoes, but this black man put a $300 price tag on his shoes.
Well, Jordan never wore those shoes.
Hold on. So I see a lot somebody else making a comment saying, "Oh, that's why you never let family handle your money." My brother tells me what to do with my money, and he handles my money. That's my family. Now, Lavar Jackson, who plays for the Ravens, who handles his money? His mama. And you know,
but your brother ain't never stole $1.5 million from him.
Lonzo's daddy didn't steal $1.5 million from him either. But the point that I'm making is everybody and their mama has something to say about Lamar's mama, Lamar's mama managing his money. Oh, he need to get somebody this, that, and the other. And you know what's another good example? Monique, everybody talking about her husband is her husband. She need to get rid of her husband. But she made a good point. She said when the white boys was handling my money, didn't nobody have anything to say. But when my black husband is looking out for me, getting the best deals and not letting me get screwed over, then everybody has something to say. And you know, somebody brought up Beyonce, saying she fired her daddy, and she did. But you know who slapped the shit out of her in the record store when she got to smelling herself? Her mama. Her mama said, "Don't you forget what I've sacrificed to get you here." And Beyonce said that was her wake-up call, and it rearranged her whole path, because she said she was going to be on one, and her mama let her know, don't you forget how you got here. Another example of that is Usher. You guys remember Usher's mom was running his businesses and stuff, and everybody had something to say. Oh, well, you shouldn't, let your mama do this, that, and the other. He ended up firing his mama, and his career started to go into the toilet. He went back home to his mama and said, "I'm sorry." And then she resurrected his career to where he is now. So the point that I'm making is stop believing all that bullshit that your family shouldn't be managing your money, because you would rather give an agent, a manager, somebody who's not connected to your family, a big chunk of your money, because we have these ideologies about us handling our money.
I don't think it's about handling the money. It's about knowing the business. And if they don't know the business, then Demetri, let me explain it to you. Me and you cool as a fan. We be cool as a fan. Imagine if me and you, somebody say, man, we want to take the war zone to syndication. We want to put you on XM radio. We schedule a meeting. I don't really understand the business. I just talk shit on the radio. And I go in the meeting and act a goddamn donkey. We come up out that meeting with nothing. You ain't finna have that. You ain't finna try to have no calm conversation with me. I just think that Lavar does not have the expertise to do the things that he wants to do. I don't believe the boys are gonna turn their back on him. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, I mean, you've done this already. Look what you've done. Your kid was playing with the Los Angeles Lakers. And now he's over in New Orleans. You know, he might be on the second line, but I mean, he ain't gonna make the money he was making in LA.
But his performance didn't have anything to do with his daddy. He got injured. Did he not get injured?
Man, the man was injured before he took his first shot. He really wasn't that good to begin with.
Number 2 draft pick, he wasn't that good to begin with?
Nope.
Yeah, because you gotta remember, before him, there was a guy picked, what's his name? He was a number 2 pick too, and then they traded him off, and he became an all-star the next year, and when they picked up Lonzo. And then they saw that they made a mistake, and they were like, Lonzo ain't, his shot is off. He's Russell, that was his name.
Yeah,
he's the guard for the Lakers. Russell. They picked him up, D'Angelo Russell. He became an all-star. Lonzo hasn't got nowhere near all-star status.
So, and then I also want to address a comment over here about Gary Coleman. Yes, Gary Coleman's parents stole every dime he had, and there are now laws. Well, the Coogan law was always in existence, but now there's laws stating that this money has to be put up in an escrow account or in the state, so that does not happen to them. But that's not the issue here as far as Lavar stealing money from his sons. I agree. I mean, I think there should be some measures put in place. That was somebody else. Now, it was the uncle, and I'm assuming the daddy put him there. That needs to be addressed. But to throw your daddy away and, say stuff like, oh, well, he should be, we shouldn't have our family managing our money. Like, we really got to change the way we think as far as Black people. Because I'm telling you, like, why is it that we don't have any problems giving our money to them? Like, I don't understand that at all. Like, you trust these people you don't know. Your mama been managing your money, whether it was your lunch money or your cell phone money and all that up until now, but you get up in the big leagues, all of a sudden your mama and daddy can't touch your money. Now, I get it. There are some parents who were greedy and they probably shouldn't touch the money. But this doesn't seem like that's the case with Lavar. Lavar has his own money and had his own money.
Well, like I say, man, if that's what they want to do, you did it one time, do it again. If it don't pan out, you got one more son to do it with, and I can guarantee you that the league ain't gonna play with him like they played with the last two. It is what it is. He put a target on his kid back. He put too much pressure on him. He had to go out there and perform up to the level that his daddy was talking about. And some nights that was just too much pressure. And it made his game was not there, D. I'm be honest with you. I don't have nothing against the kid.
I know his game wasn't there, but are we having a problem with him because he big up his son and he put a lot on? That's what we're supposed to do with our kids. We're supposed to, talk life into it and say you can reach the moon, and that's what he's supposed to do.
Well, guess what? When I coached, I had a rule. When my players hit the field, I ain't want no parents on my field. Practice, game, nothing. Drop them off to me. Let me do what I do. Let me do what I do. And the thing is he did what he did as a father. Those kids had the ability inside of them. They had it. And, when you think about folks, taking folks' money and family, how much money Vince Young got right now? Wasn't it his uncle that emptied his damn bank account? His own uncle emptied his bank account. There are too many examples out there, and I get it we supposed to pull each other up. But I tell you what, this is what we gonna do. If I make it to the league and you my dad, okay, what I want you to do is take some business classes. I need you to learn this game. When you learn this game, I'm gonna turn this business over to you. But for right now, I gotta give it to somebody that know what they're doing.
Right. I mean, even Kobe Bryant early in his career, when his mama started acting up, talking about, I need a new house. I know that's a different type situation, but that's what we do. And Kobe was like, I got to cut you off, and go my own way.
But see, y'all talking about cases of people being greedy, right? Like you mentioned Vince Young. Yeah, his people might have tricked off some money, but he tricked off a lot of his money too by getting into bad business ventures. It's a fact. So y'all talking about some cases, but that's not the norm, right? Those are certain cases. That's not the norm. That's not the norm at all. I mean, like I said, I'm not with, throwing his daddy under the bus and, making him the bad guy. I mean, I think we should all speak life into our children. And I think if you have the talent, like if my mom was a writer, right? Let's say I had a movie script or something like that. I must think I'm going to go with my mama. But if she couldn't take me where I needed to go, that's a different story. But I'm not going to go shop my script for somebody else. We got to start keeping our money and our stuff within our family. Like, imagine where the big baller brand could be if his sons just stuck it out with him. Perhaps he can put more money into it and build a better shoe. Because I know that was kind of some of the issues with Lonzo. The shoe wasn't really matching up to the performance. But if you stay, that's the same problem we have with our talented young people that are athletes. Instead of going to the HBCUs, and I get it, there's some funding there. They go to the Ivy League schools, but if they would just bring that talent there, then the money will come. It's the same thing with black businesses. Oh, I can't go over there because her hair stuff is too high. Well, if you want to see your black ass over there and you take 10 of your friends and they take 10 of their friends, then the prices will go down because now they have people going in there and buying opposed to one every once in a while. Do them like you do the Asians when you bust their doors open and go get some weed?
I say this here when you say HBCUs, and I'm gonna just be real with it. You can't even get the kids to go to a black high school no more, let alone go to a HBCU. Now, bottom line is, if you go to a HBCU, you're gonna have to ball out the gym. You're gonna have to play at the highest level that you've ever played at. But you could be the worst motherfucker in the world at the University of Alabama, and Nick Saban got enough plug to get you to the NFL. He got enough plug. I mean, these folks, they look over HBCUs, and some of the greatest to ever play the game have come from HBCUs. You see what I'm saying? But I see some people, and I know some people that just from hanging around my pro athlete partners, that some of these people could not play a lick and made it to the pros just because they went to the right school. I don't agree with that. I think when it comes to a kid's college decisions, when my nephew was like, man, where should I go? Wherever your heart tell you to go. I've done my time, homie. This your decision. And the crazy part, I trained him in football, but I made him run track to make him faster for football. So what did he do? He got a 4-year scholarship in track from the University of Texas, Arlington. I don't give a damn what you do when you get to UT Arlington. Use your athletic ability to get the free education. And that's what he did. So he got his degree and he's doing good now. And I just think sometimes we got to back up off these kids, man. We throw them out the house when they're 18 years old if they ain't no athlete. We want them to be grown then. I love Chris Webber's daddy. Because when Chris had to make that decision. He didn't talk to anybody. He talked to his father. His father said, that's your decision. But then, when he talked to Penny Hardaway, he talked to Bird, Magic, everybody. But when he talked to Penny Hardaway, he said, man, they want me to go to school and get my degree. Penny said, well, let me ask you a question. When you go to school and get your degree, what are you getting a degree for? He say, so I can make a lot of money. He said, well, who gonna pay you the money that you finna make right now? Go back and get your degree. That's how Chris Webber ended up going pro. Chris Webber was broke as all outdoors, but his father let him make that decision. So I like Lavar. I like his bravado. I love everything about Lavar. But if you're gonna put that target on their back, they're gonna have to ball out the gym, homeboy. And Lonzo had a problem balling out the gym after daddy put that pressure on him.
Absolutely. Bobby Scott says the narrative is changing about HBCUs. And you're absolutely right. Now that they got an influx of money for the next 10 years, thanks to the Trump administration, where do you think a lot of your top quarterbacks are coming out of? They're coming out of the SEC. A lot of white kids are trying to get into the SEC division so that they could be quarterback ready, NFL ready day one. So, it's all about placing yourself in the right position.
And when you brought up Peyton earlier, the reason Archie was so adamant about Peyton not going to that team, because Archie had played for the New Orleans Saints. He had played for a bad team as quarterback. He knew what that would do to his son. So he already had it set in his mind. It's certain teams he's not going to go to. Okay, we talk about Manning, talk about Elway. Elway used baseball to get to where he wanted to go. So, just sometimes you got to let them make that decision, man. The same way when it's time for them to sign that letter of intent, make it out their business and let them go where they want to go.
Let me say this. I want to hit on a few points here, and then I'm going to get back to your point about Archie Manning. And so, who was it? Bobby, I think it was Bobby, when he said LeBron James's crew took care of him and they're all bank. That was his high school friends. They didn't have all this big time business experience and all of that. And people gave them a hard time. Was it Phil Jackson didn't want his friends around, wanted to, not be associated with him? Who was it? Was it Pat Riley? Somebody called his friends thugs or something really, got under LeBron's skin. So the point that I'm making is, it's not always, and then Usher's mom, she didn't have none of that. She went and got a book on how to manage and this, that, and the other, and the rest is millions and millions of dollars of history. And then somebody brought up Ice Blue. You say, let's see, you said something about, they said, let's keep it 100. TSU president was caught stealing money from students. Some people talk pro-black, but their actions don't match their words. Well, that's not every HBCU, but where's all, I know there's a little bit, but where's all the hooping and hollering when that all these rich celebrities and stuff got caught up with paying for their kids to go to all these, big time colleges and things like that? And when it comes to Archie Manning, see, this is a lot of people probably don't know this, but y'all know Peyton Manning was caught up in a sex scandal when he was in college. I think it was college. Where it was at Tennessee. Yeah, so Tennessee, where the doctor, she was a sports therapist or whatever it was going to work on his legs, massage his legs, and he put his penis on her head. And his father and everybody knew about every mutual discretion, locker room talk. But everybody knew about it. Everybody. And Archie and Peyton destroyed this lady's career. She couldn't work again. Everywhere she went, she was just completely destroyed. They, defamed her name and her character. But why doesn't anybody talk about that? Now, that's a real monster. But we mad at Lavar because he's speaking life into his sons and he's being positive. And yeah, he's putting a light on it. You say it's a target, but I say it's an expectation. I expect greatness out of you. Will you live up to all of that? Probably not. But I would rather tell you the greatest to ever do it than to tell you, yeah, you're all right. There's going to be a whole lot of people who going to be way better than you. You give it to... Son, I think we need to move to China. I think we need to go to China. Yeah, you're not going to make it in the NBA. I would rather tell my child they're the greatest to ever do it than the low ball.
I don't think he's not telling his child that. Now, when you speak of LeBron, them boys that played with him, he considered them.
You guys hear him?
So he's having some technical difficulties. So we'll wait for him to come back in.
But I mean, I'm with you. I understand where you're going with that. But what I think the 5-star is saying, when you reach that elite level, I mean, there were people that were like, can't wait to play against Alonzo, and they just destroyed him, and it destroys his confidence once he gets there, because his dad was talking so much shit that it was like every night it was it put an unnecessary pressure on him. Lavar could have done what he did behind the scenes, and that's where I think the 5-star is going with that. You know, you put a lot of pressure on your kids, especially at the elite level. My kid's the greatest. Y'all ain't gonna win nothing without him. Well, they just did, and they ran him out of LA.
And so what? So what? We were like, why do we have a problem with that? Telling your kid they're the greatest in front of the whole world. Like,
the problem is when you're in the market like LA, look at the money that was lost. Now you're down in New Orleans.
Oh, well. And that was somebody, Ron Terrell. You say he uplifts his sons while talking about down by other players. Like who? When does he talk down on other players? I'll wait for him to put that in the comment. When does he talk down on other players?
Well, my comment was before my connection messed up is while they were criticizing LeBron's friends, he had them going to business school. He put them through school so they could learn the business. See, you got to understand it's all a business. And that's the thing that I'm teaching kids in the entertainment entrepreneurship at Academy at Yates. Yeah, it's cool to be a rapper, but if you don't know the business, they're going to rape you blind on your money. So I'm gonna teach them the business side of it. So that way when they get out there, they don't have to worry. So if you do go hire somebody, you already know what's going on. You know the ins and outs of your contract. If you can't read your contract yourself and decipher how that thing pays you, then you will be screwed in the process. And trust me, no matter who it may be, family or agents, they look for you to be dumb.
Well, so clearly, you know, he didn't have his friends just come off the block, you know, trying to run his business. Clearly, they went to business school and they learned the ins and the outs. But he did that, kept the money, all money in. Nipsey Hussle, R.I.P., all money in. And instead of going to some big time, you know, agency where they have these, you know, polished agents who were probably not like him, he kept it all with his boys, and he gave them an education in the process. And so he still kept the money, all money in. So that's my biggest issue. We need to stop giving all of our wealth and our talent and our name to entities that already have enough of that. How is a big baller brand ever going to get on if everybody keeps leaving it? That's crazy to me. Like, you're going to potentially be the greatest player in the world, but you'll have a Nike shoe on your foot instead of a big baller brand shoe that your father came up with to keep. And he came up with, see, this is what the people are leaving off. He came up with that brand to give his son something to fall back on in case they didn't make it in sports. But see, wait, let me finish. Sometimes people's vision is too short-sighted. They're not looking at the long run.
Right. But see, here's the thing, though. Have you heard of Stephon Marbury? He was a talented point guard, played for the New York Knicks. I mean, the guy was on fire. He was over there with the Timberwolves. He had a shoe that sold for what? $24? $24. And he's better than Lonzo. And his shoe wasn't selling because it wasn't Nike, it wasn't Adidas, it wasn't a Kobe brand, it wasn't a Jordan brand. And I understand what you're saying, but that's my problem with the dad is the fact that you talk so much smack that it affected your kid's confidence, and it got to a point to where how are you going to sell a $300 shoe and the child is not even proven yet? No championship, no playoff. He's not there. Stephon Marbury Wait. Stephon Marbury does a shoe, $25, all-star. He did been there, done that.
Strawberries.
Yeah, and the shoe is okay, I guess, but not really.
No, actually, the shoe did rather well. The shoe did rather well. It was about $15 was the price range for it, and he did that so people from all walks of life could afford the shoe. But so we talk about this $300 shoe. Now, this is where business comes in. Nipsey Hussle sold his CDs for $100 a whopping. You know where he got that idea from? And I just read the book. It's called Contagious, and you guys might have heard of the Philly cheesesteak. The restaurant in Philadelphia where they sold these cheesesteak sandwiches for $100, and it drove so much business there because people wanted to know what the hype was. And so again, I don't have a problem with a shoe being $300 because I know there's a Negro running around right now with an $800 Gucci shoe on that he can't play no basketball in. So let's not sell our people short behind, oh, it's too much money. But yet, there's people running around with red bottoms and all kind of stuff on that. They can't do hardly any of that. Red bottoms aren't comfortable. I don't own a pair, but I heard. So I don't have a problem with him having to shoot $300.
I had a friend, still my friend, named Dion Hollins. And I tell this little story. His son was a young kid playing ball for us. I think little Dion was maybe 9, 10 years old. And I kept telling Dion, I say, he's a defensive end, man. Linebacker, defensive end. Oh, no, he a running back. So after the first year we had the banquet, Dion take the trophy that the kid get, throw it in the garbage can. He not no linebacker, but he was the best one on the field. Let's flip it a few years. He ends up in high school. He ends up Mr. Texas in high school football. That means he was the top dog. But he was a defensive end and a linebacker. He signs with UCLA. After his third year, they had a bowl game in San Antonio. The kid gets 4 sacks in the bowl game. Draft stock going through the roof. Daddy called me. What you think, Monroe? Say, man, let him go pro. The worst he gonna do is second or third round. Let him go pro, man. Mama say, nah, he need to go back to school. Kid only need 30 hours to graduate. He can get that in the summer. He goes back to school. Before the first game with Texas A&M, he gets a concussion. They hurl him the rest of the year. He goes into the draft, does not get drafted. Now, Daddy will come on this show and tell y'all, I should have listened to Monroe. Sometimes you got to listen to people that just know. And when it comes to running your business side of that thing, if you don't have the expertise, now I could give a kid advice on music because I can look at your contract and tell you if it's worth the damn. You see what I'm saying? Because I studied the business side before I got in the game. You know, I just believe that sometimes you just got to be the parent at a certain point. Just be the parent, let them be the baller, and it is what it is. You're gonna get the house, the car. They're gonna take care of you. You're gonna do like Deshaun Watson. You're gonna buy mama that house, and it's gonna be what it need to be. But I mean, Lavar is, and as far as how much his shoes cost, he has every right to charge $300 for his shoe. If that's what he wanted to charge, if you want to buy them, you buy them. But I wouldn't have bought them ugly motherfuckers. I'm not finna pay $300 for that shit. That shit made you look like you was crumpled. I'm not finna do that. So, I mean, I love him. I love Lavar because he is who he is. You're going to either love him or hate him. That's all it boils down to. But from a business standpoint, none of us know what goes on in that house as far as business goes. But I just think that, you know, come on, Lavar. You either going to have to go get some expertise on this thing or you're going to have to give it to the people that know what they do.
Yeah, when I saw that shoe, it was like it had a big thick heel or something. Like, like if you were like, if your leg is one leg is shorter than the other, you get that extra heel. I don't know what it was, but no, I really feel that he's got this son. This is his last son coming through, and he's the better of all three of them, in my opinion. This is his last shot, and after his experience in LA, the big lights, the big money, storied franchise, a lot of GMs are looking to see what the dad is, doing behind the scenes and how much he's going to talk, because I really feel like it's going to affect his draft stock if the dad hasn't learned from Lonzo. it's going to affect his draft stock. I just wish him the best.
You had a mama, Rashard Lewis's mama, when he went pro out of high school. Of course, he got that big money, and he was like, I'm finna buy me 3-4 cars. She said, no, you're not. You're going to buy one, because you can only drive one at a time. Well, Mom, I want to buy your house. She said, that's fine. It don't have to be nothing extravagant. She made sure that if her son got hurt or retired, that he would have his money. Good friend of mine, Santana Dotson, that played for the Green Bay Packers, won 2 Super Bowls, went to Yates. His daddy was there all the time. But when I say that boy had kids and he didn't force his boys to play football, his last son, he ended up being a walk-on at U of H. He could have sent him to Baylor. They'd have showed him some love. But he allowed his children to carve their own path. 2 Super Bowl rings, 13 years in the league, and he backed off. Y'all do what you do now. One of his daughters is at Baylor right now playing volleyball off the chain. But he always stepped back and just let them. He say that's their life. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. And his father didn't get into the business side of what he was dealing with. He let him do his thing. And sometimes you got to do that. So I don't fault Lavar. I'm not mad at him. I just think that he needs to get some more expertise in the things that he's dealing with, especially the business side. But as far as him being the character that he is, man, do what you do. Pick up your kids, do what you do. But learn the business before you mess them up on the business side. But look here, Demetri, because we got to talk about this here. Joe and Kamala. Who the hell finna hold these people accountable now? Demetri K.
Did she hear you? Demetri?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Joe and Kamala. We president-elect, vice president, bam, let's go. Now, who gonna hold them accountable? Who gonna make them do all the stuff they said they were gonna do? How do we do that?
You might want to defer to the comment section because I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote for Trump or Biden, so I don't know who necessarily is going to do that. Maybe want to ask some of these people in the comment section who was, well, let's get him in there and then we'll hold him accountable. But they're not interested in holding him accountable at this point. Most people are just glad that he got into the White House and Trump is defeated. Ding dong, the witch is dead, the wicked witch is dead type of thing. So that was the prize for a lot of people.
Michelle said, who was holding Trump accountable? We're not talking about Trump no more. We're talking about a brand new administration that we have to live under that made a whole bunch of promises. So how do you people that voted for them hold them accountable? Or realistically, let's just be honest, you don't give a fuck about holding them accountable. So long as they could tell the lies on the campaign trail, you didn't give a damn. So if he does not do what he said he was going to do with student loans, you don't give a fuck because you ain't got nothing. So I'm asking, how do you hold them accountable? And guess what we're going to get? We're going to get crickets because nobody thought about that.
Yeah, the funny thing is just like I said in the beginning of the show, in the news section of it, they are already grumbling in the Democratic Party, especially from the progressive left, that the first 100 days, nothing is in the plans for the first 100 days for Black people. Now, what are they talking about? Oh, the backbone of the Democratic Party. Black women did this. The Black folks in Philadelphia and Detroit, they came out and took him over the top. So now the progressive left of the Democratic Party is saying, okay, that's fine. You're in there now. You're on your way. How do you put out 100-day plan and do not address the very people that put you in office? You've got the doctor, you got the dreamers. He's doing the pandemic. I mean, and that's all good and great. Nothing in the first 100 days that addresses the issues. And a lot of pundits are now looking and saying, wait a minute here, hold up. Yeah, we're happy and we're celebrating, but you go to the dance with who you went to the dance with. That's who you're supposed to dance with. So you're supposed to give us something, but didn't we predict this? We said that you're not going to get a goddamn thing. Now Trump is out. You got what you wanted because you didn't ask for a damn thing.
Now, Michelle say, but the same people you expect to hold Biden accountable wasn't holding Trump to the same. He did whatever he wanted to do. Now I love you, but now I'm going to check you. They said we needed to get him in because he was going to do all this stuff. So now you saying that he in there, he don't have to do it. Bullshit. But don't worry about me holding him accountable because I didn't vote for him. So I don't give a fuck what he do. Matter of fact, I got to sit here all week and work on a plan for an $80,000 deal that I'm working on. Ain't got shit to do with Trump or Biden. I don't give a damn what Biden do. But the thing is, you had no ideologies of holding this man accountable. You just made sure he put out the good information and all that shit. So don't worry about him calling Q because he ain't finna do shit for us. So if you cannot come up with nothing that says how you're gonna hold him accountable, then I know one thing, Donovan and Demetri. You ain't gonna hold the mayor accountable. You ain't gonna hold city council accountable. You ain't gonna hold them judges accountable. And we gonna be fucked across the board.
And that's the question. You guys, well, we got to get Trump out. Oh, no matter what, vote blue, no matter who. Okay, he's out now. Why are we so short-sighted when it comes to politics? And Joe is showing you right now. Why are people calling me? Joe is showing you right now how Black people, every election, oh, well, you guys are going to have to sacrifice. We just saved the country. We just saved the country. If you played on a Super Bowl team, you get a ring, okay? Even if you're the trainer, you're the assistant coach, everybody gets a ring. We just saved the country, and now they're saying, yeah, you guys helped us out, but get in the back of the line right now. We're going to get to you a little bit later. We got to get these illegals taken care of first, people that couldn't even vote for us. We got to get that done, and this done. And you guys are cool with it.
Well, me, I like to give you the real, Demetri, and don't laugh too hard because she'll mess up her lipstick. I want you to put them nuts right here. Put your nuts right here. Because in 4 years, you're going to have a dick in your mouth. You ain't getting nothing but a dick in your mouth in the next 4 years from Joe Biden.
Ew. Yuck. Yeah, remember the old people used to say, well, if she jump off a bridge, you gonna jump off one too? I mean, to me, that's what I hear when they say, well, nobody, where was the people holding Trump accountable? Well, let's say that there wasn't anybody holding Trump accountable. So that means that Joe Biden shouldn't be held accountable. Joe Biden sat up there on his acceptance speech and says, but I'm paraphrasing, but I know it was Black people who delivered me and I'll never forget you. What the hell does that mean? I'll never forget you. And then earlier that day, a Marie Claire article came out that has had 6 top points that he was going to address. And on there wasn't anything about helping Black people specifically, but he was specific in helping immigrants, LGBTQ. He was going to do something for the environment. He was going to do something, just housing for homeless people, but nothing specifically. Now, the key word is specific because I know somebody's going to go there. Nothing specifically for the people who made this possible for him and Kamala. Nothing specific. And so, again, I go back to my original point. What really is there to talk about? Those same Negroes, that we're talking about, we need to get them out and then we're going to hold them accountable. They're not interested in that. They just wanted to secure a win, to get Trump out of there. They are happy with getting nothing. If you guys saw the clip of James Clyburn, I forget who he was speaking to, but the guy asked him pretty much, well, so what are you looking for? Does Joe Biden owe you? Oh, master, he don't owe me nothing now. I was just happy to do what I did and pay it for to all my generations to come. Now, and that's pretty much what he said. And so there's a lot of Negroes who think like him. No, we don't want nothing about so we's happy. We're happy that we got you when you needed to go. You don't never need to give us nothing. Nothing.
I thought welfare was reparations. I thought the welfare you gave us was reparations.
And that was James Clyburn, you know, and so they're not interested in that. To me, it's just like it's a conversation that we could have, but for what? They're not. They're more interested in holding Ice Cube accountable. You guys have probably seen the memes of him and Lil Wayne like picking ninnies, basically like they're cooning and all that. They're more interested in hating Ice Cube for the rest of his life, canceling him on grandmas, as I said yesterday, grandmas talking about I'm not gonna buy no more Ice Cube's music. Come on now. I wasn't buying his music, and they gonna cancel Ice Cube, and he played himself. But yet you giving Jim Crow Joe a chance because he's sorry. He made a mistake, and that was so long ago. Nah, I don't know why y'all keep on talking about old Master Joe like that.
Well, he said on the night what he's gonna do for us. Didn't you guys listen to the speech? We stood by him. He's gonna stand by us. That's about it.
Well, Angela, you made a mistake. First of all, you didn't put Big Daddy in front of your comment. You think I'm playing with you, huh? I told you call me Big Daddy. So let me read it the way it should read. Big Daddy, if you didn't vote, you shouldn't talk about who going to hold him accountable. Yes, I have the right to do that because I'm in my community every day doing work that you will never do. I'm in my community doing work that you will never goddamn do. So here's my question. Today in the city of Houston, a police officer lost his life. How do we address that? How do we hold the administration accountable? Because you don't need more cops, you need more resources in the neighborhoods. You need more economics, you need more money in the neighborhood. This is why Donovan continuously screams about reparations. You see what I'm saying? But if y'all just cool with this shit, then it is what it is. Like I say, you know, they want to call Cube and Wayne coons, but a coon is a motherfucker that votes somebody in and don't want to hold them to the standard that they said they were going to do. That's a coon, man. That is a true coon. The one that sat there and believed the lies. You voted for him, and now you saying fuck his lies, and he can fuck us any way he chooses to fuck us, and you cool with it. Not on my watch. Because I'm going to get these bitches the business until God take me off this earth. So what you don't want to do, Lil Mama, that's what I'm going to call you, because you supposed to call me Big Daddy. I'm going to step up to the plate for you, because that's what a man supposed to do. You understand me? So, you know, only thing I need you to do is walk on the side of me, Angela. And don't say nothing, because I'm going to hold your white savior accountable. And I'm going to hold him accountable through the local levels and through the state levels. And I'm going to give them bitches all kind of hell. Y'all stood out there for him. You went to war for him. Now get on his ass.
Exactly. Because what's going to happen here, and this is what a lot of the pundits are saying, and even I look at it like this. If Joe Biden does not deliver, the Democratic Party, a lot of people will be walking out of the Democratic Party, because if you like what we're saying, or if you don't like what we're saying, the question is, saying is true, because they're not doing the work that they're supposed to be doing. He's got everything in that first 100 days, $7.3 trillion bailout for this, DACA that, LGBTQ. I mean, we can go on and on, everything but the people who got him on his destination. And you guys don't think there's something wrong with that? I mean, it's going to be a mass exodus, and you're going to see the return of a Republican president, a Republican House, and a Republican Senate. And by the way, speaking of the Congress, Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party did such a bad job. The House lost seats, and the Republican majority is down to this recall election in Georgia. But 5 vulnerable Republicans, it should have been a cakewalk, should have taken over the Senate. Now we've got to wait. And if Mitch McConnell keeps that majority, what you going to do then? What you need to do is get Nancy Pelosi up out of there and get you some new leadership, because this woman has lost over 1,000 seats across the nation in her stead as Speaker of the House. It ain't working, you guys. It ain't working.
It ain't gonna never work because we really don't want nothing. I mean, it is what it is, man. We don't want our neighborhoods fixed. We don't want our schools fixed. That's why I'm saying I'm gonna watch how he build the cabinet. I'm a big Stacey Abrams fan. If she'd have been on the ticket, he'd have got my vote. I'd have voted just because she was on the ticket. So now the question is who you gonna put over? Who's gonna be the Secretary of Defense? Who's gonna be, over education? Now you're gonna see how this actually works. And don't be surprised if and I'm gonna give him a new name because I know in 4 years I'm gonna be able to say I told you so. Jawbone Joe ain't gonna do a goddamn thing.
Where did this comment go? Michelle, you say they don't care about Black males losing their lives in the streets. So let me ask, fellas. Let me ask Donovan. Let me ask you a question. Where are these Black males predominantly losing their lives? Is it in Republican ran districts or is it in Democrat ran districts?
Mostly Democrat ran districts where you have ghettos and hoods.
So who is this they that you were speaking of, Michelle? Who is this they that you're speaking of? And I agree with you, Donovan. They left a lot of the real gangsters in office. So focused on, getting Trump out of there, you left Mitch McConnell in there. And Lindsey Graham, who's on TV talking about Trump, don't you give up, Trump. Don't you don't concede. I don't care. They're cheated. You got all these people and like these big time white supremacists. Y'all like, how do you do that? How do you leave those type of people in office? The Congress is where the power is. And to Donovan Trump, like the Senate and the House are in the balance. Like the House lost seats. They were supposed to gain seats. The Senate was supposed to flip. It was just this referendum on Trump. But y'all left the real problems to fester. And this is another point. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, because sometimes I'll be a little extra with my Blackness. Now, I don't think this is my opinion. I think the number one reason, well, it's up there, that they didn't pick Stacey Abrams is because she's a big Black woman. Now, I don't say that to be demeaning because she is. I'm not saying like she's big, Black, and loud, nothing like that. But
yeah, she doesn't have aesthetic appeal. She's not aesthetically appealing.
There you go. Kamala has, she's nice. Not saying that Stacey Abrams is not. I think she's a nice looking woman, but Kamala fits the bill. She's more European looking, and so she's more palatable to white people. But I agree, I'm not a huge Stacey Abrams fan, but I think that she would have done well in that position, being that she completely helped flip Georgia blue. And that was, damn near impossible in the last, almost 30 years. So.
Stacey Abrams, and I'm glad you said that, Eric T. Mitchell. We're just going to call her Big Sexy. He don't win without Big Sexy, man. It don't happen. So that's why I say he need to take care of her. He need to take care of her. She needs to be on the cabinet. And that's all it boils down to. And as far as Angela, I'm glad you got your verbiage right. You call me Big Daddy. We need to give him time. He has 4 years. But I wonder how it was the first day that you went to work. They expected you to do your job. Yeah, they're going to give you time to learn some things, but at the same time, they expect for you to do your job. And when it's all said and done, it is what it is. So let me address this. T-Mac, I'm already on that. I said I'm not going to step on anybody's toes with the case out of Baldwin. If somebody's already doing it, which I feel they are, then it's not the assignment for me, because what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to take a case that's similar to Emmett Till, and I'm not going to be singing no Negro spirituals. I'm not going to be, begging and marching. I don't do that. I want results. But, bottom line is we need them to go in there and do their jobs. And that's all it boils down to. That's all it boils down to. If Joe say, you had my back, I got yours. Okay, well, we're going to find out, homie. But I think you're gonna find out exactly who this clown really is.
See, and here's a funny, just real quick. Here's the funny thing. I just put it in the comments. Right now, as he's building his cabinet, the same old neocons are coming back. So you're going to have Condoleezza Rice. You know, he's trying to rebuild this Obama coalition. Now, I want you guys to think about this and be honest with yourself. It was that coalition that brought up Trump. That's how Trump got into office, because of the Obama coalition. He's going to rebuild that. And then after all the work you guys have done, he wants to put some Republicans in his cabinet?
Now I love Tiffany Campbell. She's here as much as she can be. She says, as far as I'm concerned, as long as we continue to put negative energy in the universe, that's what we're getting back. Can we give them some time to get in the White House before we start bashing? I'm not bashing, Tiff. I'm just telling you I'm a realist. I see this politic thing from a different level. I'm inside of the game. And all I'm saying is that I don't want to come back and say I told you so. I want to come back and say I was wrong. That's what I want to do. But with the way this game is set up, it ain't gonna happen. If it, like, you know, my mama used to say, it's too much like right if Joe go in there and do what he say he gonna do. Because that ain't what they want for black people. That's not what they want. So bottom line, it ain't about his swag, Angela. I don't think so. He has his own. Man, the motherfucker damn near dead. He ain't got no swag.
Right. And Tiffany, I just got to say, you hear the Republicans and President Trump talking about cheating, right? We had the Green Party right here on this show. Are you aware that the Democratic Party kept the Green Party off of several states so that they can win them? See how thin the margin was of Biden even winning? Just think, if the Green Party was on those states, would he have won the election? So if we're talking about cheating and stuff, this is the Democratic Party that did. The Republican Party didn't sue to get the Green Party off of these state elections. It was the Democratic Party. So sometimes all we're saying is, sometimes you got to look in the mirror and sometimes say, is this party really the party I think it is?
Willie Brown says true, but why do we think we're gonna get something from this system? That's not what we're saying, Willie. What we're saying is the black folk that's been dancing in the street because Joe won, the black folk that went to war for Joe, all we telling them to do, can you hold your man accountable to do the things that he said he was gonna do? Just and honestly, my brother, he ain't gonna do it. I already, and we're not surprised by that because we know he not gonna do it. So the pressure is not on Joe for me. The pressure is on these coons that don't want to hold him accountable. Final thoughts, Mr.
Yeah, so my final thoughts, I just want to touch upon a couple of things. Why do people, especially us, a Negro, why do we think that telling the truth is bashing or negativity? Like, why do we get those wires crossed? It's the truth. It's not bashing. We have gotten to the point in our community where we don't want anything to do with the truth because it's uncomfortable. Then we mislabel it as negativity or bashing. And then let's see. Ice Blue, earlier you had made a comment about Michael Jordan being an investor in the prison system. That's the wrong Michael Jordan. It's actually another Michael Jordan that is an investor. So it's not Michael Jordan, formerly of the Bulls and of the Jordan tennis shoe brand. So that's misinformation. I think we need to do our best in making sure that we are being factual when we, say things about people. That's been debunked a million times. And with the Quan Charles, I hope I'm saying his name right. I agree with Gary, because we see how this thing goes, and you guys are not familiar with it. There's a young man that was found, let's say lynched for a lack of better words, and they are likening it to that of Emmett Till. He looks almost the same, as far as how they find a body. But I agree with Gary. We know, especially in today's climate, there's a lot of vultures circling, and there's a lot going on. So, like you said, you're going to, wait it out if that's where you need to be. then so be it. And it was, and then my last point about Lavar, Vince McMahon, he's got his whole family involved in his business, all money in.
And Donald Trump.
All money in.
Final thoughts, Donovan?
Hey, like I said, the election's over. Hey, on this show, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, whatever administration that comes in, I want to see what he's going to do. I was one of the very first people that said, I'm going to give this guy a chance. Let me see what he's going to do. Okay. And he did some things, so I'll give him that. But overall, he was a douchebag. I'm glad he's gone. I'm glad you guys got him out, and that's good and great. But what we have to do is start holding these bastards accountable. The Democratic Party lost seats. There's no doubt about that. This country is 50-50. We are in a position where we can demand what we want. I don't understand how we sit there and say, oh, it's okay. Go ahead. I don't want nothing. I'm good. Hey, we need our reparations. California passed the reparations bill. It's just a matter of time before it gets to where you guys are at. Do not forget to download the Warzone app if you want to check out the Warzone morning show. 5-Star General's cutting it up. I mean, they're doing the versus. So it's the Street 100, the Heat app. Check it out in your Google store, your app store.
I just want to say real quick, our resident commenter, Janelle Don, your comments do have me rolling. We need to get you on the show one day. I'd love to hear what you have to say in person.
Angela, nobody on this panel voted for Trump, baby. Will you stop perpetuating that lie? Nobody on this panel voted for Trump. Look, man, this is it for me to y'all, man. You niggas y'all ain't never had nothing. You don't want nothing, and you ain't gonna get nothing. And you comfortable with that. Let me say it again. You niggas ain't never had nothing. You ain't gonna get nothing, and you don't want nothing. And you cool with that nothing that's gonna sit in there and do nothing for you. Say another spirited discussion with the best in the business, man. Say, man, I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-Star General. I'm going to take me a quick break because tonight is the first episode of Love in the Zone. Why do women, black women, sometimes hate on successful black women? We're going to talk about it. And guess what? If your motherfucking toes is hanging off the end of your shoes, I'm going to step on your fucking feet tonight. Until tomorrow night, man, we'll holler at you.